So I had a conversation with someone the other day. It's fairly obvious to me, but I have noticed that many Canadians don't understand these sort of things. They don't get it. And what it is some old chap suggested that I learn karate or jujitsu or kung fu or something. Like I go to classes for it and, I study up on it. And he thought it was a really interesting activity to do, and he thought it would teach me discipline and all that other sort of stuff. But what he doesn't understand is it's not Irish. That's not how an Irishman would fight, and that's not how I'm gonna fight. Uh, as far as discipline goes, most of these fighting styles are adopted by the Japanese and they originate from Chinese uh, kind of spiritual kind of nonsense. And the thing about it is, that's not me. I'm not an Asian, and I'm not going to fight like them. And I don't believe in their form of discipline because who's to say they're more disciplined than us? I've seen the movie Shogun. I've seen what they do to their women and what they still do to them in Japan, as well as China, with the organ harvesting and all that other sort of stuff. So don't go talking to me about their discipline, how they're so much disciplined than us, because they don't, have bar fights like we do. Like, I can get drunk in a bar and it doesn't make any difference. I can walk out of it as long as I don't, feel personally threatened. Like, I could even be at a sports event cheering for a team, and if my team loses, I'm still not going to pick a fight. If I'd have been old enough in '94 when the Canucks were playing the Rangers, and I were in a bar and I'd had a few and the Canucks lost, I wouldn't go out of my way to pick a fight, even with an irritating New York Rangers fan. Because the thing is, funny enough, I have an irritating Calgary Flames fan who, whenever Calgary beats Vancouver in any settings, he turns on this obnoxious button where he's just so irritating to deal with. But even him, like, I wouldn't do anything. I just ignore him. I mean, that would be an incredibly unwise thing to do to be in a bar wearing a New York Rangers jersey at that time. In fact, there was a story about it, which I will cover in another video. Because sometimes history needs to be freshened up. People need to be reminded of things that happened in the past, not have them just be buried and forgotten about. So anyway, I have no interest in learning karate. It's not Irish, it's not how my grandfather would have fought, and it's not how I'm gonna fight. I'm the kind of guy that, like, if I have a few beers in a bar or something like that, someone's got a problem with me and it's unavoidable. It's You want to fight about it? We'll fight about it. I can't stand the idea of people going, "Oh, Asian martial art, it is so much superior to white man barroom barbarian." Yeah, right. Uh, we've all seen the stuff what they do in Japan with the Yakuza and things like that, and switchblades and beating on their wives and things like that, and forcing their wives into prostitution and all that other sort of stuff. And it's not me bashing the Japanese because there are a lot of things about Japan that I like. Well, not that many things, but I like sushi. Not so much into the sumo wrestling. Something about it I don't really like. I mean, it's part of their culture. Like I could probably go to a sumo wrestling match, I suppose. Uh, and I don't know what they do if they drink a sashi or a Sapporo beer while they're there, and they bet on it or whatever they do. That wouldn't bother me. However, it's not like going to a NHL hockey game or even an AHL hockey game. I'd like to see the Manitoba Moose play. That'd be nice. Uh, Yeah, so the big thing about Asian martial arts is the discipline. The discipline is something that they hold pride to in their ability to meditate and fight and this and that. And I just don't think their fighting style is that superior. It's all about what element you're in, depending on your situation. Because all this, hoo, ah, hoo, it's all good and well, but it ain't gonna help you in some circumstances. Fighting isn't exactly a finite sport. It's all about timing and your scenario, your scene where you are, and you're not always going to win no matter how well you're trained. I can understand some people going, I studied for 9 years in samurai. Oh, yeah, I'm more disciplined than you. You're not going to beat me. But that's not true. You had one sake too many because you were foolish. You might not win the fight. Um, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna win every fight because I've not won every fight I've ever been in. But I try to avoid getting into fights in the first place. But sometimes it's unavoidable. You're downtown or you're wherever. You're in a bar, and there's going to be some rowdy that is uncontrollable, and it may take the smallest thing to set him off. It's called being triggered. You say one thing, and all of a sudden, because they know that subject in a farther reach, it's like it sets off a chain of events in their head, and all of a sudden, you mention one little thing about indirectly about their subject, and it explodes into a giant thing, and they rage a hole about it. Rage a hole. Uh, I'm not like that because I don't get triggered. If someone says something little, that's just the start of a conversation. Like, if I have the time, I'll sit there and we can discuss it further, and I can see what the real opinion is of it, or what direction they're going in. Not to say I won't get irritated with them if they're starting to talk about it in a certain light that I don't agree with, but if it's just the beginning of a conversation and they say something like, I don't know, like China is going to rule the world, as much as I don't like that, I know that concept a lot more intimately than some people think. I'm still not going to get triggered by someone saying that. That's even if I'm stone cold drunk, that's not going to piss me off. Uh, we get into the conversation a bit further. I find out what they think about it for real. I might get irritated with them. It doesn't necessarily have to turn into a fight, but if they want it to, then it's could be unavoidable. It's certainly not something I want. But I'm not the most physically fit, but I'm prepared to defend myself if need be. I'm not too concerned about somebody who's got 5, 6 years under their belt of karate and their black belt, their red belt, whatever ranking system they've got. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not Japanese. That's not how I fight, as I told you. My grandfather was Irish and he came in second in a 50-man boxing tournament. Not because he was using karate or jujitsu or any of that stuff. And that's the propaganda machine going, oh, you want to learn how to fight like them because you want to emulate their fighting style and things like that. No, the Irish fighting style is better. Some people aren't going to agree. So there will be examples where the Irishman has lost to a jujitsu fighter, but that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's which fighters win in the future that's what's important. So I will not be going to any karate, jujitsu, samurai, or any of those types of classes. I have enough of my own discipline. I know when and when not to fight, and I'm not too concerned about what other people think. Uh, it's a strange old world we live in, but Some people just don't understand tribalism. They don't understand that they think it's racist if you say, well, I don't respect Asian fighting culture. I don't think it's the best fighting culture. They don't agree with you. They're entitled to their opinion. That's okay. Anyway, gonna wrap this video up. I might make another one today, probably tomorrow though. If you watched and you liked, you were interested, then thank you. Have a good day.